Today we reflect on the Ignatian insight regarding spiritual relish. That is, what is it to savor and taste the divine things of God? What is it that truly satisfies us? St. Ignatius says this simple principle in the spiritual exercises. What fills and satisfies the soul consists not in knowing much, but in our understanding the realities profoundly and in savoring them interiorly. St. Ignatius is speaking here about relishing and going deep in the things contemplated. So when we contemplate the things of God, we need to take time to relish them, to savor them, to masticate, if you will, the realities of God, the holy things of God. He says we will find fruit there, spiritual fruit, and we will satisfy our souls. He says our souls are not filled with simple knowledge. It's not enough to know many things, even if you know things well and you believe those things. It's not enough. We need to take time to relish, to savor, to taste, if you will, the things of God. Very important in the spiritual life that you and I take time to savor the things of God, to relish them, to really savor them with our whole being, all our senses, to feel, touch, taste, smell the things of God, and to live within those things. So he gives advice to those who are leading another in spiritual exercises, saying, if you are a leader of someone else in the spiritual life, don't say too much. If you're going to have them do a meditation on some part of Christ's life, say one of his miracles, don't talk too much yourself. Keep it kind of short. Just give a kind of brief summary of what you want the person to contemplate on the gospel scene, and then let them go deeply into it, because what will fill and satisfy their soul will be them relishing perhaps just one little aspect of that scene. Maybe it's the face of Jesus that speaks to them, and they're just going to focus on that and relish the beauty of the divine face revealed in Jesus Christ. It's a powerful principle. We often want to have the whole picture. We want to understand everything. And if I don't understand it, or if I don't know how big the Jordan River was, or I don't know how deserty it was it hilly, were they really mountains, all these things, I'm not content if I don't know everything. And by knowing, I'm trying to encapsulate everything, understand, grasp, comprehend, but totally circumscribe everything that I know. And that's not the spiritual life. You can never circumscribe God. You can never fully understand him. St. Augustine has a wonderful principle that if you fully understand something, you can be sure it's not God you're talking about. Si comprehendis, non es Deus. If you understand fully, it's not God you're talking about. God is ever greater mystery. So you and I are to savor that mystery. Mystery doesn't mean simply something so far beyond me, I have no clue. I know very little about God, but actually something that envelops me, something within which I live. God is not a problem to be solved, that something I step outside of and try to solve and figure out why he does what he does. God is a mystery, something bigger than us, within which we live and move and have our being. Something that does have reason, something that God is reason, God is logos, and yet he's ever greater. And so we are to savor his realities and savor the things that he does for us, in us and through us, and also the things he does in the gospel, to savor those realities, to savor the divine things, to relish, to find spiritual relish in the things of God. That takes a heart that slows down and that allows itself to be touched, that allows itself to appreciate, to really savor things of God. So in our prayer, you and I also need to slow down sometimes and just appreciate how wonderful God is. St. Ignatius could go on for hours thinking about the beauty of the Trinity and the interrelations among the persons, and he would cry, and he would just savor the reality of that great glory of God. And so you and I are called to also, in little things, it might be the smallest of things that speaks to us, but just be glad, maybe it's the Eucharist that speaks to you, that God would give his own flesh and blood for you, and at one Mass it just hits you, to relish that, to savor that, to go deep in that, and to rest in that. We will rest in that spiritual relish. We will find rest for our souls when we find spiritual relish in the riches of Christ. God bless you.